Welcome to the Festival of Storytellers.
I can't tell you how excited I am to be on right now. It's been a couple of weeks of excitement, getting prepared, and I've done a lot of things in my life, but this has got to be close to the top.
Thank you, Reader's Magnet, and thank you, John, for putting this forth and taking the chance on us authors in presenting this out to the world.
I've enjoyed this immensely, Joanne.
Ellie, so have I. Thank you for who you are, and thank you, Reader's Magnet. You all are beautiful, and you've worked so very hard, and we are blessed.
We are.
I thank everybody that's involved with this process, because we know writers need readers and writers need publishers. We thank Reader's Magnet and everybody that's involved. I love Reader's Magnet. They say, we share your stories with the world.
Hello, and thank you for joining me for this segment of the Festival of Storytellers. My name is David Dockter, and I am the author of Black Rock Redemption, a book you might have read. But I am here to talk about my new book. It is called Wagon Train Orphan. It's a Western. And it's about a boy who's left an orphan after a wagon train massacre in which him and his dog are the only survivors. With the help of God and friends he meets along the way, Mike survives, and this is his story about how he fulfills his father's dream of going to the California gold fields and how he grows into a man along the way. Mike, his mother died a couple of years before this story starts, and his dad was kind of restless. I guess back in the old days, sometimes they called it fiddle-footed after that. So he decided to sell out their place in Tennessee, and they were going to go to California and get him some gold. Mike says that the only two things that seemed to bring his dad joy, his pa joy before they left, was teaching him how to read the Bible and shoot. And his pa made sure he could do both really well. His pa's favorite book in the Bible was Proverbs. And there was every time something come up that Mike needed correction or something, his pa always had a verse from Proverbs on the tip of his tongue to help him explain and to Mike what he was doing and why. One of his favorites was, "A wise man takes correction and learn, and a fool does not. Mike Fagan is a young man who, I guess, he doesn't have a chip on his shoulder, but he doesn't take any guff from anybody. Growing up in the West, there was people who thought they could take advantage of a young boy and would try. Just as there are people that today that take advantage of those that they think are weaker or not as smart as them or whatever. Mike wouldn't take any guff from anybody. Along the way, he meets a lot of people. He interacts with a lot of different cultures, many different Indian tribes, Hispanics, the Army. Excuse me. The Army, and the white settlers and townspeople. He runs into many, many good people that help him along the way. He also runs into the other kind of people, like I says, and Mike doesn't take any guff. Mike saved his father's Bible after the massacre of the wagon train, and that's one of his prized possessions. He reads it every night, no matter where he's at or who he's with. And because of this, oh boy, excuse me, just a second. And because of this, he affects a lot of different people. He shows them the way to salvation, and he shows them God's mercy and love. He teaches some to read and write. Darnell, nice to see that you're on here again. He brings some to salvation. He teaches some to read and write while he's doing this. But he is always faithful. Everything he has. Diane, good afternoon. Everything he has, he gives praise to God for. He knows that he cannot do nothing without God's favor. And if there is one thing that I would like people to take from reading Wagon Train Orphan, it's the fact that all things are possible through God. I know that some people will say that some of the things that Mike accomplishes and does are well beyond his years. And at his age, he will not be able to thank you, Justic, and that he should not be able to handle the responsibilities. Well, back in the 1850s, 1860s, and before, all boys wanted to be considered men. And they would take on responsibilities that you and I today would think were more in line with somebody that was 2, 3, 4, even 5 years older than they were. And they would handle them because of pride, and they were proud to be considered that they could be able to handle a man's job. When the West was settled, these were the kind of people that came west, the youngsters and the older pioneers and stuff. They were strong, independent, stubborn, and they wanted to take care of themselves. There were a lot of people that came west. A lot of them didn't make it. There were, like I've said before, the Oregon Trail, they say there was a grave every mile. But there were a lot of them that did make it. They come west not because the government or somebody said they had to. They come because they wanted to find a better life for them and their families. They wanted to be able to do as they pleased, worship as they pleased, and not to be bothered. Well, some of them wanted to do as they pleased a little more than others. Rach Hayag asked me what litany of pilgrimages have I gone on? Well, I guess you could say when I was in the Navy, I went on several of them through the different countries in Southeast Asia. I can't say I've gone on a whole lot of what you call pilgrimages since. Now, where was I? Oh, the bad guys that we were getting ready to talk about. There were people that came west, and like I said, they wanted to do what they wanted to do. It didn't matter what others wanted. They did not want to live in a society that had rules. They wanted to be the rules. The kingmakers, the kings, the robber barons, the cattle barons. They wanted to take and run whatever they were big enough to take and run. Well, Mike's pa told him when they were coming west that they were bringing the ideals of America and the United States with them. The ideals of the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution, the values of liberty and justice and fair play, and that there would always be people who would be fighting against that, but it was up to the strong to protect the weak, and it was up to people to stand together to protect each other, to form a civilized society. I am going to talk a little bit about myself now. I grew up in Colorado in the 50s and 60s. And when I was in high school, my favorite three things to do was hunt, fish, and rodeo. Well, all of these cost a little bit of money, and I had to have some kind of jobs to finance my habits, I guess you'd call them. My first paying job was a janitor at 14 at a Dunkin' Donuts. Then at 16, I went to work for a pool construction company. And then at 17, I worked hauling hay for 6 different dairies within Pueblo County. Now, if you want to work and know what work is all about, haul hay for a summer. There is nothing I have ever done that has ever been any harder. Justic asks, what books has inspired me to write? Well, all kinds of Westerns, all kinds of books. I have always been a voracious reader. When I was in middle school, when it come time to do a book report in the 9th grade, it wasn't middle school, it was junior high back then. In the 9th grade, I could not find a book in the school library to do a book report on that I hadn't read. I had to go to the city library. I have always liked Westerns and adventure. I like books about intrigue and military secrets. I like authors like Tom Clancy, Webb Griffin, Louis L'Amour, Zane Grey, and many others. From the time I was in my 20s, I've wanted to write. And I tried. I bet I started over 100 different books and never got them finished. Well, I finally, here a few years ago, got started and on Black Rock Redemption. Neil asked if I want my books to stand on their own or if I'm trying to build a body of work with connection between each book. Right now, I think I want them to stand on my own. I haven't been able to find a connection to bring between them, but it's possible there will be some way. See, what was I saying? Like I said, I started writing probably 100 different stories and never finished them. Then I started on the book Black Rock Redemption, and I felt that God was guiding me all the way through it. Man, it just flowed. It took me 6 months to write it and get it printed and published. And like I said, it just flowed. It felt right. Well, then I started on Wagon Train Orphan. Guy guided me through this one too, but it didn't flow as fast. It took me 4.5 years to get it wrote. But if anybody likes to write and thinks they want to write, keep at it. Keep at whatever your dream is. If you follow it and you put God in the center of it, it can and will come true. I know I'm sounding like a sky pilot, but that's what we all have to be. When we have dreams that don't come true, there's two things you need to do. God says in the Bible, you do not have because you do not ask. And you have to have faith. You have to have faith in Him, faith in yourself, faith in your country, and faith in your family and everything you do. It doesn't have to be writing or be an artist. I mean, heck, you might be a ditch digger, but if you have faith, you can become the best ditch digger in the country, and maybe get your own construction company or anything else. Like I says, I want people to come out and say, when they read this book, that if he can do it, I can do it. I may not be able to do exactly what he did, but if he can follow his dreams and make them come true, I can follow my dreams. Adam Jones asked, what makes my writing unique? I'm not sure. I think I tell a good story. I think I try to make things relevant and timely. I try to stay true to the times I'm writing about. Wagon Train Orphan, I discuss different people and different things that were going on during this time period. There are people listed in my book, like the colonel that was in charge of Fort Defiance in Arizona, and the Indian chief of the Modoc, who came to be known as Captain Jack. These people were real. The things that I write about them doing are purely fictional because I don't know. I wasn't there. I can't say that this is what they did or what they thought. But I try to write about what they say and are doing and make it into a plausible scenario. Like I said, I've talked about Mike not taking any guff early in the story. If you like Westerns, you'll love this book, I'm sure, because there is a lot of bang, bang, shoot 'em up, cowboys, Indians, miners, and whatnot. Well, it's almost time for me to say goodbye. You know, I have enjoyed coming on to this Festival of Storytellers immensely. This has been one of the best things I have done in a long time. And I hope that you will get my book and read it. I also hope that if you enjoy it, you will write a review for me. Authors always like to hear good things about their stories. Well, I see by the clock that it is time. Please join me again tomorrow. And I will be saying goodbye for now. Thank you.